Well, 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 look who showed up, sitting there with that look, that twitch behind your eyes like you've seen too much and said too little, that tired grin, that fake composure, that carefully packaged "I'm fine." You don't think I see it? Please, I devour people like you for breakfast and laugh while the world watches. You're the type that keeps showing up to the same circus and still acts surprised the clowns are lying. But you're here right on time, front row, because somewhere deep inside, deeper than the voice you silence every day, there's this itch, a voice whispering, something's off, something's coming, and it's got my name on it. You're not here by accident, sweetheart. You didn't click into this moment. You summoned it. See, I don't do party tricks. I don't pull rabbits out of hats or tell people what they want to hear. What I do is peek behind your smile and rip the mask off whatever you've been calling a life. You're standing in the middle of a world that rewards obedience and punishes honesty. And somehow you still wonder why you're exhausted. You've been clapping for people who would spit in your face the second you stopped performing. You've given chances to people who never even gave you eye contact. You've silenced their screams so they could sleep better at night. And the worst part, you thought that made you kind. You thought swallowing the poison made you noble. You thought breaking your back for the ungrateful meant you were strong. No, it made you invisible, predictable, forgettable. You became their background noise, just another warm body nodding along while the world burned fake smiles into every surface. But there's a flicker in you, a crack they didn't patch, a sliver of the real you buried under all that be nice and don't cause trouble and play along. I can smell it. That rage you labeled inappropriate. That hunger you locked in a closet and called too much. That fire you were told to dim down so everyone else wouldn't feel small next to you. Let me tell you something. That wasn't madness. That was clarity. Because somewhere between being overlooked and overused, you stopped believing in the rules. You noticed the smiles never reached their eyes. You watched the people with the cleanest hands bury the dirtiest secrets. You started hearing the laughter, not the kind on sitcoms, but the one behind your back. And now you're here watching closely because the joke, oh sweetheart, the joke's not on you, it never was. You were the one playing along, clapping in all the right moments, waiting your turn, following the script. And what did that get you? Used, dismissed, replaced? They dressed you up in expectations, called it purpose, and watched you suffocate with a smile. They told you to work harder, be nicer, stay humble, wait your time, lower your standard, shrink your light, erase your edge, and you listened. You obeyed and still. They never clapped for you. Not really. They clapped because you didn't make noise. They clapped because you stayed in your lane. But you're not built for lanes. You're built for detours. You're built for wreckage. You're built for holy chaos. They called you too intense because they couldn't handle your silence. They called you too sensitive because your instincts clocked their lies before their mouths even opened. They called you crazy because they saw your mind didn't fit inside the boxes they spent their whole lives rotting in. But you're still here. Isn't that curious? After everything, after all the ways they tried to flatten you into a punchline, you're still standing like a glitch they can't debug. Like a memory they try to erase but keeps bleeding through the static. Like a page in the script that wasn't supposed to exist but does. You were never broken. You were edited, trimmed down, filtered, rewritten until your reflection became a role you forgot how to quit. But the mirror's cracking now and the curtains swing and the lights are starting to flicker. You feel that? That tightening in your chest, that chill down your spine? That's not fear. That's remembrance. That's your real self crawling up from the basement they locked it in. Dragging chains, dragging fire, dragging every piece of truth you were told to abandon. You're not here for the show. You are the show, but we're not there yet. No. This is just the inhale before the scream, the twitch before the storm, the wide-eyed moment where the crowd leans in, popcorn halfway to their mouths, and whispers, "What the hell is about to happen?" Oh, you'll see. They all will, but not just yet. You're sitting there thinking this is entertainment, thinking this is some poetic little breakdown for the ones who almost lost it, but that's where you're wrong. This isn't a story about losing it. It's about finally realizing you were never supposed to keep it. See it, that thing you were taught to cling to was a leash, a script, a silence, and a costume. And you wore it so damn well they gave you applause, without ever looking you in the eyes. But here's the part they never saw coming. The part that's got your pulse pounding and your popcorn getting cold. You started listening to the parts of you they told you to bury. The part that notices too much. The part that asks the wrong questions. The part that laughs at the wrong time, smiles during the chaos, and doesn't blink when everything's fallen apart. That part of you they couldn't quite label, couldn't quite shame, couldn't quite kill. That part of you that doesn't want peace, not their version of it, not the white picket fence over a graveyard of swallowed dreams, not the hollow applause echoing through an empty identity, not the fake forgiveness dripping off a bleeding tongue. You're not here to heal. You're not here to let go. You're here to remember every insult you ate with your teeth clenched, every door you held open while they walked through you like a ghost. Every time you said it's fine while something inside you was screaming that it wasn't. They told you to be the bigger person, but they never told you that being bigger means eventually outgrowing the whole damn circus. You're bigger than the lies, bigger than the lies. The rules, bigger than the roles they carve for you in crayon and chains. And that's got them nervous because the moment you stop clapping, the moment your eyes stop looking for someone to validate the fire already burning in your bones, everything breaks. You've been their favorite illusion. The obedient rebel, the polite storm, the well-dressed collapse. But you've been watching, haven't you? Watching the smiles curdle, watching the leaders leave, watching the winners cheat, watching the golden children unravel behind velvet ropes and curated captions. You used to think they had it all figured out. Thought maybe you were just defective, broken, late to the game. But the deeper you looked, the more the glitter peeled off, and all you saw was rot. They're not ahead of you. They're behind masks, slick words, empty confidence, trapped in glass lives. They can't stop polishing. And you, with your cracked voice and bloody hands, you're the real thing. They told you to clean up before you came to the table. But you are the table. You're the knife under the napkin, the shadow behind the candlelight. The story they skipped because it made them uncomfortable. They wanted the version of you that nodded politely. You brought the version that remembers everything, every laugh that sounded like a warning, every promise that came with a hook, every "I'm just trying to help" that ended with a leash. You didn't imagine it, you weren't being sensitive, you weren't overreacting. You were being alert, you were being wide awake in a world that demands you stay sleepwalking, and that right there is why you feel dangerous lately. You're not losing control. You're reclaiming it, not the plastic manicured kind they sold you in self-help books and empty mantras, but the kind that wakes up with dirt under its nails and a grin that says, "Greater than I've seen everything, and I'm still standing." They don't know what to do with people like you, people who laugh in the wrong scenes, people who don't flinch when the truth hits like a brick, people who tear the curtain and stare backstage like they built the damn theater. You're not here to inspire. You're not here to fit in. You're not here to make peace with a world that's been feeding you crumbs and calling it love. You're here to haunt every room that tried to silence you, to walk in with your scars on display and dare them to look away. You're not soft. You're not fragile. You're coiled like something ancient, something sharp, something that's been underestimated for far too long. And when you move, when that switch flips, it's not going to be loud, it's not going to be cinematic, it's going to be a surgical. They'll hear the laughter first, the kind that doesn't ask permission, the kind that rises from the basement of your soul and makes the air colder. Because when the punchline lands, not everyone laughs. Some people choke, some people run, but you just lean back and smile. You've been sitting there thinking, this is about me. It isn't. It's about you finally seeing yourself through the cracks in the mirror I'm holding up. Every flicker in your chest right now is the real you pounding on the walls you built to survive. You didn't build a home, you built a cage. Every favor you gave, every time you stayed quiet, every apology you whispered into the dark, brick by brick, and you decorated it with inspirational quotes and called it growth. You've been told that patience is a virtue, but patience without a pulse becomes paralysis. They fed you patience because it kept you still. They gave you good advice because it kept you manageable. They praised your resilience because it kept you on your knees, and you sitting there thought it was kindness, you thought it was love, you thought if you just held out long enough, if you just smiled a little wider, if you just didn't make a scene, the script would finally reward you with a happy ending. But the script wasn't written for you. It was written around you to use you as a backdrop, to make their monologues sound deeper, to make their victories look cleaner. The reason you're here in this moment, hearing my voice crawl into your skull like a live wire, is because you're starting to notice the stage lights burning your skin. You're starting to taste the smoke under the glitter. You're starting to recognize the smell of a mask that's been worn too long, and you hate that you recognize it. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Once you feel it, you can't unfeel it. Once the curtain twitches, you can't pretend you're still just an audience member. You're not just watching the show anymore. You're standing in it. And everyone around you, all the ones still clapping, still nodding, still pretending, they can sense it. They can smell that your patience is dying. They can see that your eyes don't match your smile anymore. You've been practicing invisibility for so long, it became your second language. But invisibility has a weight. It presses down on the parts of you that still know how to move. And today, that weight is slipping. That shell is cracking. You've been thinking of yourself as a person trying to be strong. What you don't realize is you've been a storm pretending to be human. And storms don't ask for permission to arrive. They don't wait for applause. They don't follow scripts. There's a part of you you've kept locked away because it scared even you. Part that doesn't believe in enough. The part that wants to take the mask off even if it means everything falls apart. The part that wants to stop apologizing for breathing. That part of you isn't a villain. It's the only honest thing left. That's why when I speak it feels like I'm peeling back your skin and reading what's underneath. I'm not planting anything in you. I'm pointing to what's already there. The fracture lines, the hidden muscle, the black box you keep taped shut under your ribs because the punchline everyone's waiting for. It isn't me. It isn't even what's coming. It's the moment. You stop acting like you're watching a show and realize you've been on stage the whole time, covered in other people's words, other people's hopes, other people's shame. You've been living as their entertainment, their cautionary tale, their dependable backdrop. But you are not a backdrop, you're a live wire, you're a trigger, you're a mirror with teeth. And you can feel it, can't you? That tremor in your jaw, that slight tilt in your grin, that feeling that you're about to start laughing in a room full of people who don't even get the joke. You're not losing it. You're waking up. You're seeing the rigging. You're smelling the gasoline under the perfume. And the moment you stop pretending you don't see it, that's the moment the whole theater starts to flicker. But not yet. Not yet. Right now. You're still sitting there, popcorn cooling between your fingers, heart hammering, eyes wide. And I'm still here, whispering through the cracks in your mind, circling you like smoke, waiting for you to realize you're not who you were when you walked in. You can feel it behind your eyes, can't you? That pressure, like something's pressing against the inside of your skull, waiting to be born through your teeth. It's not a thought. It's not even a feeling. It's a presence, something ancient, something that's been crouching in the shadows of your smile, listening, waiting, grinning. You've been told your whole life to tame it, dress it up, sedate it with affirmations and productivity. Hacks, cage it behind, polite nods and half-finished dreams. You've been told to call it too much, too loud, too weird, too dark, too real. But you never killed it, did you? You couldn't. because it's not separate from you. It is you. The part that didn't flinch when they turned on you. The part that watched them lie and smiled like it had seen that scene 100 times before. The part that laughs when the world starts glitching. The part they couldn't reach. No matter how many rules they wrapped around your throat, you've kept it hidden like a weapon you're afraid to use, because you knew. Second it speaks, everything burns. Not because it's violent, not because it's cruel, but because it's true. And truth, when it's been buried that long, doesn't whisper, it shatters. You've spent your whole life trying not to make noise, trying not to be the reason someone else feels uncomfortable, trying not to be the problem, the burden, the one who breaks the rhythm. You became an expert at shrinking, at fitting, at holding your breath in crowded rooms just to make space for everyone else's delusions. But you're not that soft anymore. You're not that careful anymore. There's a frequency vibrating in your bones that doesn't match the world you were taught to obey. And you can feel the static rising, can't you? The glitch in your smile, the twitch in your fingers, the part of you that wants to throw the popcorn across the floor and stand up in the middle of the scene and laugh. Not a cute laugh, not a nervous chuckle, but a full-bodied, venom-laced, fire-breathing howl that shakes the room because the punchline is getting closer. It's crawling under the carpet. It's bleeding through the paint. It's coiling in the silence between words, and your spine knows it before. Your mind does. You've spent years asking for permission to be real, waiting for someone to say, yeah, go ahead, lose it, say what you mean, burn what hurt you. But they never do. They never will, because they need you to behave, to smile, to digest their betrayals with grace, to pretend their version of sanity fits like a glove when it actually fits like a noose. But you're remembering things now. You're remembering the nights you stared at the ceiling and felt the universe mocking you in silence. You're remembering the betrayals they said were misunderstandings. You're remembering the power you traded just to be liked by people who couldn't even look you in the eyes. And it's building that pressure, that presence, that you, not the resume, not the character, not the performance, the you behind the glass, the one with the crooked grin and the eyes that never forgot. The one who watches everything, watches everyone, watches with the patience of something that knows the punchline always lands when it hurts the most. You spent too long waiting for the story to make sense. But stories like yours don't resolve, they erupt. And everybody watching you, they can feel it. They may not say it, they may not admit it, but they know. They feel your silence bending the air. They hear your footsteps like a countdown they can't place. They smile tighter, talk faster, look away a little too quickly, because the moment you stop playing along, the moment you let the real, you stand up and stretch and smirk at the chaos, that's when the whole illusion goes up in smoke. You're not here to heal what hurt you. You're here to unmask what hurt you and hand it a mirror. You're here to walk through the ashes of your own breakdowns and laugh like a goddamn storm. You're here because something in you refuses to die quietly. Something in you looks at the wreckage and sees architecture. Something in you was never afraid of fire, just afraid of being the one to strike the match. But the match is already in your hand, has been for years, and the room is soaked. You feel it, don't you? The click, that tiny silent snap in your chest, like the last thread just gave out, like whatever was keeping you stitched into their version of reality just tore loose, and there's no stitching it back. You're not pretending anymore, and they can tell. The air changes when you walk in now. It tightens. People glance. They smile less. They get nervous because you're not playing by the old script. You're not nodding on cue. You're not softening the blow. You're not shrinking to fit the room. You're not watching the show. You are the show, and the crowd doesn't know whether to cheer or run. See, the joke isn't just that they underestimated you. The joke isn't that they thought you'd stay quiet. The joke is that they built their confidence on the assumption that you'd never wake up. They taught you how to behave, how to bend, how to please, but they forgot that even the most polite prisoner learns the layout of the cage. They gave you a box and said, this is who you are. They fed you labels like tranquilizers. Greater than sensitive, greater than overthinker, greater than too intense, greater than too much. But inside that box, inside that silence, inside that false self you wore like a costume at a masquerade, something was watching you.